Bruh, we're back again, guys, and we're gonna finish up the bottom end of the Steve 1.8T engine and build. So we're gonna show you guys how to do the whole bottom end of the engine. I'm just trying to get here on my live feed. There we go. Welcome, 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 everybody. Thanks for tuning in. I gotta clean up my little mess here before I start working. I made a little bit of a mess, but I'll give you guys a preview of the mess that I made because it's pretty exciting stuff here. Put this packaging out of the way. So we got some products from Diesel Geek. We got a full O2J shifter rebuild kit from Diesel Geek, and then we're gonna do a short shifter by Wolfsburg Tuning. This is kind of the most common eBay / Mugen Megan racing shifter, short shifter. This does about a 40% shorter throw. So we're gonna install it and see how much of a difference we get for actual shifts. Again, this short shifter we're not gonna be able to use it in the car, like actually drive it, but we're gonna be able to feel it in the car immediately from the difference of the actual throw inside the cabin just by merely looking at it. It's actually a pretty big difference. So we're going to be doing that as well. So got again a couple new DIYs coming, and all thanks to Patreon, by the way. Not possible without all the Patreon members here. So give Patreon because now that being said, let's get to work, you know? Let me get my hat on. My hair just got out of the shower. Hey Google, turn everything on.
Got it. Turning 5 things on.
My super clean hat. Super purple trucker hat. Now, if anybody's looking for some cool, unique parts, I got some cool stuff for sale. Have you guys ever seen this? These are R32 dead pedal and actual full pedal set. If you guys are looking for some unique and really cool parts for your car, these are for sale. I'm going to put these up for pretty much 150 bucks for the whole set. The reason for that, the dead pedal is actually damaged on the back. The 3 hooks that actually hold it in place are broken. So, cool thing though, if you guys are patient, you can unclip everything and swap it over to a good dead pedal. So it's actually not a bad, again, investment if you guys are trying to do that. This is a legit R32 dead pedal. Extremely rare and very, very expensive if you guys want one. The R pedals as well are legit. So we're going to be putting these up for sale soon. 150 bucks for the entire set. So if you guys are interested, hit me up as soon as possible before I put them up for sale. If you guys are interested in this. And then yeah. So for you guys with GLI parts, I do have GLI aluminum trim handle, the GLI what's it called, the bottom blend cover, and a GLI aluminum cover for the driver side controls. If you guys are interested in this, again, very, very hard to find parts, and these are real authentic OEM parts. Make me an offer for these guys. They all work. So these are for sale as well. All the money that we make off of these parts goes straight to the Patreon card, by the way. All right, so Welcome everybody to another live session, and today's live session we're gonna finish up the entire bottom end of the block. So we're ready to do the bottom. So the bottom of the block here is not 100% complete because we got a couple little bits left. We still got to put our oil pump, our cover, the new chain, the tensioner for the chain for assembly. Now on this engine, it had a really low mileage oil pump, so we're going to reuse the oil pump on this car. Not necessary for a replacement, just due to the fact that it's, again, a really low mileage oil pump. So we're not, how can I say, afraid to use it. So I'm going to grab the pump. No, Tiny, I did not change my Ugga tools. Jeez. Alright, so oil pumps are super important during a rebuild. Replacing the tensioner, this little guy right here. Cheap part that's super vital to your, pretty much to your build. There's a nut here. All this nut does is just hold this assembly in place. Doesn't do anything, so remove the nut. Do not install it with it. Okay? This little tensioner is for the oil pump. Alright guys? This guy bolts on right here. It has a spring that's super annoying. You got to take the cam gear out to get it off. To get it on, I mean. So make sure when you do your oil pump to make sure the crank gear is removed. You do not want to have this installed during the process because it gets in the way for the oil pump tensioner, okay? So let's grab our oil pump. Where are you, Mr. Oil Pump? Not that one. Where is it? Okay. Here it is. All right, so this is the oil pump that we're going to be using. Show you guys here. It mounts like that. Okay. One thing you need to remember whenever you do an oil pump, remove the two 10mm bolts here. We are going to be replacing the oil pickup with a brand new pickup for the hybrid oil pan. When you do your oil pumps on these cars, make sure you have the baffle. This guy, remember, goes like this. This thing is like super brittle, so be very careful because this thing is easily broken. Definitely clean it up if you can. It's always just a good measure for cleaning that portion up. So we're going to give this a quick little bath with a little bit of purple power just before we install it. But I just want to show you guys how it orients right here. It's got a little, see these 3 holes here? That's where these 3 line up with. This is the pretty much what lines it up for you. Just be careful, again, when putting it on. Put it on gently because this will crack. It's commonly known for cracking, so just be very careful. I know, right, Tiny? Alberto, is the VR 1.8T superior? Well, 1.8T is superior in reliability and in power for the money. All right, get that statement in your head as deep as possible. For people with lighter pockets or just don't want to spend a fortune building a car, 1.8Ts are literally the cornerstone in making good, reliable power. Now, if you got deep pockets and you don't care about your money, a VR6 with, I'm not going to say unlimited, but with a decent budget will make more power than a 1.8T and will make it faster, and it's not as reliable. I'm just going to be honest with you. I mean, you can make a VR6 really reliable. I'm not even kidding. You can. But, again, dollar for dollar, if you put them next to each other, the best bang for your buck is a 1.8T. Not even kidding. I know, where is everyone? Ain't nobody on tonight. Missing a couple bolts. I know I put them aside. Missing the oil pump bolts. Where did they go? There they are. Okay, so here's your chain. Come dive in. So on your chain, it's going to be a little difficult. So we're not going to bolt this on, okay, guys? What you need to do is you got to kind of loosen it up. Put it in a kind of an angle. And then line it back up. Just like that. I'm missing one bolt. I gotta find it a little bit. It's not super important yet, but it will be soon. Alright, so because these two pretty much is all I need to hold this guy in place. There's no timing needed for the oil pump to be installed. It's just literally just bolt it on and you're done. Man, all my stuff is all mixed up tonight. Here it is. All right. So for your tensioner, again, this is kind of the annoying part for your tensioner to go on. You gotta like really, it's a really annoying job to do. So what you want to do, it's a 10 millimeter that holds it in place. What you want to do is kind of like start it. Make sure the little hook right here starts it in there. Those bolts you lost, they are under the... I can see them from here. I'm only missing one. And if you're talking about here, that's not it. It's a very specific bolt. It's long. It's got a Allen key in it. They're not over here because these are all VR6 parts. So I don't think they're anywhere. They were in that box. I might have to look underneath the other box. But I'll check in a little bit. Right now it's not super vital yet, but this is what I need to start on right now. So what you're gonna do is once you get it started, you need to make sure you get all the slack from the chain over here, and you're gonna pull this guy back. And this guy goes on pretty snug, guys. And this is where the annoyance comes in. Ow. This is the part that I hate the most. They're under my tantaran? What the hell's a tantaran? I don't know what that is. I'll figure it out later. No, they're not there. It's in one of these two pans. I'll go through it in a little bit. Alright, so let's see if we can get this to work. We can also unloosen this again and give us the little bit of play that we might need. My chonies, I ain't got nothing in my chonies, fool. There we go. Okay, so now we're gonna tighten this back down. Ay, ay, ay. And now it's all tensioned. Whew. Do not torque anything down, just make it nice and tight. That's it. Because we have to torque everything to specifications. It's not, these parts really don't go on that tight, so remember that. So we're replacing the oil pickup with a new pickup and an O-ring. And Tiny, are you watching, buddy? I think you're on here, right? Alright, so whenever you guys remove the oil pickup, you're not allowed to reuse the there's an O-ring on all oil pickups. You can't reuse these. These are one-time use O-rings. Always replace. These are like $1, so always replace them. Where is the O-ring for that pickup? Here we are. Brand new O-ring. And a brand new shorter pickup. Now this is for using the hybrid oil pan. All right. Tiny, you got to be at my house before 1 o'clock on Saturday for the main event. So you guys are watching right now. Remember, this Saturday we're fundraising by waxing parts of our body to help Pinchal's Garage new season. So now this is the difference right here. These are the two different pickups right here, guys. One's the AWP pan, or the stock aluminum pan. This is for the hybrid pan. It's got a little bit shorter pickup on it. So you guys gotta I'm not really focusing on what you're saying, Kenny or Ken. So just so you guys know, this is the old one, this is the new one. This guy again is a little bit shorter. It's moved a little bit, it's raised up a little bit higher than factory, so it doesn't hit the pan on the inside. I'm trying to finish this block, the bottom end tonight. Complete bottom end done tonight. That way, on tomorrow night, I can do the top end so you guys can see the whole head being built tomorrow. So I'm trying to be as fast and as efficient as possible. What did Tiny say? Damn, ignore. What's up, Shane? It's alright, man. I'm not ignoring you on purpose. I'm ignoring you because I'm working. I do the best I can to read comments, alright? And work all at the same time. Alright, make sure this is nice and snug. Do not torque it down yet. I gotta find that one bolt I'm missing. Just one. I know I have spares. Before I go grab a spare out, I need to find it. What? I know it's here. Took two of them apart, so should be no reason why it's missing. Let's see here. Missing one bolt and it's annoying. Oh, you know why? Because I put them over here with the other block. Let's see. No. No. That's why. I remember I sorted everything prior. Here we are, Oreo pickup. See? Why I label everything. Alright. Last but not least, bolt right here. Alright, so now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bolts to torque down to specifications. Okay. Yeah, no, I keep forgetting that I tore down two. Remember, you guys, I tore down one 1.8T, and that was a flop block. And then I gave this guy the other one, and I moved everything I took out of this to that pile and over there. So I did sort everything and bag everything correctly. It's just I split the two blocks, so I have parts on this side organized and on that side organized as well. But everything is organized. It's just in two different locations. I just got to remember where I left them. Alright, so let's get the torque specs going right now, guys. Let's see here. Number 2, those 11 foot-pounds. So these guys right here, 1, 2, and 3, 11 foot-pounds. This guy 11 foot-pounds, and then these two all. So everything that holds the oil pump assembly is 11 foot-pounds. Is the old block totally unusable? No. The old block is just a lot of the parts are not usable. So the pistons got hit by pretty much the valves, so the pistons are damaged. They're not reusable. The good news is that I'm actually going to buy new pistons for it since I got new rods for the block. I just got to pick up new pistons. So that goes with that. The entire valve train on the head has to be rebuilt. So it's not unusable. It's just that we couldn't reuse a lot of the main components for a rebuild. Shane, actually, these are not my nuts. These are bolts. These are not nuts. There is a difference. So there we go. Okay, so now the bottom end is done. My back's doing good today, man. My back is definitely doing very good today. I'm pretty happy about it. So the next step here is to seal up the front end. This is the front main seal, and then you have a rear main seal. The front main seal is actually one of the easier ones to do. The rear one is the one that sucks because it's a much larger seal. But again, it's not that bad, guys. It's definitely not that bad. So this is the front main seal here. You see, this is where the seal has to be removed. Couple ways you can do it. Get a big old socket, put it here in the middle, and punch it out. If it doesn't come out, you want to grab the edges. Do not try to hit anything on the smooth surface of the machine surface, because if not, he will damage the surface and it can potentially cause a permanent leak. So be very careful when trying to pull seals out. These guys are easily damaged and then you're done pretty much. So we're going to try to grab them with some vice grips really quick. And see if I can knock it out. If not, we're going to have to hit it out with a flathead and a rubber mallet. And then if you're going to hit it, don't hit it on direct surface. You want to kind of hit it on a rag so it doesn't score the back of the actual seal here. Actually, the top of it. Come on. There we go. And this is why you want to take your time. You want to leave this surface perfectly machined with no damage on it. So what I did, so I can show you guys exactly how you pop them out without damaging them. Rubber mallet is the key. Don't use a metal one. Again, there's rubber and then there's a metal portion on the seal. What you're trying to get is on an angle so it snags on the metal and part of the rubber, so when you hit it, it pushes it down. Try not to hit it on the metal portion directly. You want to be more indirect and have it slide down. Reason why, because with the flathead, you can hit it hard enough here where it will bend this metal and score the surface, and pretty much you have a permanent leak. So yeah, pulling seals off. Big be careful, because you can damage the crud out of it easily, and then it's done. So the next step, number one, I'm going to show you guys a big no-no on installing these front main seals. They don't need a ton of RTV. You can see this was like soaked in RTV, so more likely this engine or this had a seal leak a while ago, and what they did is they soak it in RTV all around, and you can see that, I mean, there's a big chunks in here. You don't need a lot of RTV to get these to seal beautifully. So the goal, whenever you guys put this seal, this front main seal on, is, if you look here, it goes on like this, okay? And your main goal when installing this is to create the smallest seal, like thinnest seal possible, because this, you have what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bolts holding this entire thing down. If you put too much RTV, this creates an unequal surface, and what happens when you put the new oil pan on, these 2 bolts right here, actually no, 1, 2, 3, 4 bolts don't go in perfect, and you can strip these pretty easily. This is aluminum. This isn't a very hard material. This will strip super easy and cause you nothing but grief down the road. So just be careful, guys. I've seen way too many people rebuild engines and they have leaks for days after they pretty much put everything back together. What's going on, Giovanni? So what I recommend, grab a razor blade, a really brand new razor blade, and just start cleaning all the surfaces on here. Don't grind this down, just clean it up, and then use like a engine degreaser just to clean the rest of the surface off, and then put RTV on here. So you guys can see here, clear that surface off as best you can. You see all this. We'll get to it right now. If it lets you pull it off, pull it off. If it doesn't, scrape it off. All you're trying to do is pretty much get the surface ready for a brand new RTV. You don't want to slap too much on here because you will create leaks. And what I'm doing, I'm following the grain. As much as I can. And all the RTV is pretty much removed. If you see any inside any of the holes, take it out. Don't allow any of this stuff to pretty much feed into the threads. I had a while ago, actually a couple years ago, without focusing. What's going on? What do you have, Shane? Is it a VR or 1.8? Because I might take it. I can recycle. I can use it. So, one thing I had a couple years ago, there was a lot of RTV inside this one oil pan here, and I didn't realize it had too much going down into the holes. And so when I started torquing down the oil pan, it literally cracked the corner of the block due to pressure created. Whenever you start threading things down, this RTV becomes a solid, and you're pushing it and compacting it so much that it ended up cracking this whole corner of the block. So I ended up missing one bolt. It didn't leak, but it literally just shot out a whole corner. I actually have it on one of my live streams. It actually happened on my block, but I mean, it wasn't a big deal, but it can happen. So usually what I do is I go down and then with a flashlight, make sure all the threads are clean, and then install. Nah, I pick it up, Shane. I go visit you, buddy. But what is it though? Is it a VR or 1.8T? That actually would be cool because I could probably use it to make like a table out of it. I'd like to do that. That'd be super cool. Make a little piece of little piece of art, you know? All right, so this is ready for pretty much for RTV. We're gonna put in the seal next before we actually install the actual front seal. Front main seal here. Oh, it's over here. All right, so we got a brand new seal. And what we do is that we start it by hand. These seals go in dry. Do not apply any lubrication to install these, okay? They're 100% dry install seals. So you can see here, I can get them started to a point, but I can't get them all the way down. The next step is you get a socket the same size of the seal to the edge, not towards the middle or the back, to the edge, and you're going to tap it down slowly. that, guys. Perfect. Okay, so I'll show you guys here how it goes. What's up, Ken? What's going on? What's up, Mr. Gutierrez? Yes, I will feed you and I will provide alcohol beverages on Saturday, buddy. So, seal is installed. When you install this seal, make sure that the outer portion and the top have no lip. You don't want any lip on here at all. Okay? So now we're going to get the RTV and slap it on here. Let's see here. Ay, ay, ay. Let's see. I'm missing this RTV tube is already really dry, so I'm trying to clear it out. There we go. Let me see. Let me read some comments. Hello. I gotta work Saturday. Good news, I'm getting hella car part minutes. Doesn't want no lip, understand. We are a great value version of Malacca. Tiny, you drinking? Mala has come a long way fast. You gotta go to bed last night. Live feed totally screwed me. Worked it. No, I'm driving. This brings me back to when I was watching your videos, learn how to reassembly my 1.8. Later, Kenny. Same, yo. I need to sleep today. Later. Last night's stream was really good. Got me out of the loop, Kenny. You guys are funny. You guys are old people. I went to bed at 2 in the morning, woke up at freaking 8, and went straight to work, and I'm back here again. By the way, have a good night, guys. So when we apply RTV, super thin. And I mean, when I mean thin, you're going to lay this down as thin as possible by hand. Again, there's no need for a ton of RTV for these guys. There's no need for it. So it looks like I put in a lot, but it's very, very minimal. It's super paper thin. I'm just trying to spread it around as much as I can. I try not to use as much. I use a Victor Renz RTV. It's kind of an OEM. It's actually as close as the OEM possible RTV. So I love the stuff. It works super good. It really does seal very, very well with very, very minimal effort for their RTV. I'm telling you guys, I need to get sponsored by our Victor Renz. I use so much of their products. It's so good. That. Yes, RTV can definitely break motors. Yeah, no need for the whole tube. Just a tip. No, Ken, I don't do tuning. But I know someone who does. And that's Trent Smith from Boost Dynamic Tuning. Hit him up. Hit him up on Facebook. Just look up Boost Dynamic Tuning. Super good tunes. We just got the tune for the VR. I can't wait for that. Now the reason why I'm not installing the seal immediately, you want it to actually dry a little bit because it gets stickier. And the stickier the surface, the better the seal. Usually, you can do it in about 5 to 7 minutes after you applied it. Make sure you just clean up the surface. Okay, we just cleaned. And you want this as clean, as dry as possible before installing the new seal. All right, now Flex seal. Oh God. So you got to be super slow on this seal, on this install, because you don't want to damage the seal. One thing that a lot of people do and don't realize it when they do it, that they invert the seal and cause it to not go on correctly like that. Hold on. Nope. Let's see, make sure. Okay. There we go. All right, that sucker is in. Let's see. I think I say have a night with Zoes, Salander, or Al. Anything goes. Just use weather stripping. Good night. All right, so the front main is installed. Now I use the bolts for it. Here we go. The front main seal uses the same bolts. They're reusable. They go on at 11 foot-pounds. Just so you guys know. All right. Now the rear main seal we can't do until we get the engine on the cherry picker because it's kind of covered by the engine holder. So we're gonna have to do the rear main seal pretty much once we get the top of the engine all done. Once the top of the engine's done, we can hold it up, turn it around, and put the seal on. That one is again kind of a last minute install. Would center locking wheels be hard? They're not hard to do. It's just that you need, when you do you have to get an adapter that converts the 5-lug hub to a center locking hub. You need a really good impact gun to start it, and then you need a gigantic torque wrench, because I think those go on at like 150 foot-pounds. I think it's something nutty. But yes, I mean, they're super cool. I mean, if you want to go that route, center locking wheels are super dope. But they're not, how can you say, easy to get. I mean, especially if you're on the middle of nowhere and one of them fails on you, or like a wheel goes bad and you need a spare tire, you have to have a spare center locking wheel. You have to factor all that in. So we're here, torquing them to 11 foot-pounds. All right, all done. I'll probably just double check it one more time. Okay. So the bottom end of the block is almost done. The next step we have, what's going on? What's going on? Oh yeah, 300 foot. Yeah, exactly. 300 foot-pounds. Imagine you blowing a tire, and you need a torque. You have to replace a wheel that's center locking in the middle of the freeway, and you're trying to torque down at 300 foot-pounds with like a 10-foot breaker bar. I don't think it's a very smart investment. Okay, so pretty much the bottom end is done. We got oil pump, pickup, all torque to spec. We got our front main seal, torque to spec, new seal installed. What we're gonna do here now is kind of give you guys a rundown of the block itself. So what's left in the pretty much in the build procedure of the bottom half. Who knows the exact term for half an engine? When you buy a complete half engine, do you guys know the exact term for it? I want to see who knows it. Ken, what turbo would you recommend for forged rods and pistons? Depends what type of power you're trying to make, buddy. So what do you guys call this part of the engine? Only the half. What's the term? Okay. Thank you, Tiny. Thank you. Short block. Thank you for the response. That's right. These are terminologies it's very vital to know. I know it's kind of cheesy that I tell you guys, but it's actually very important stuff. So on this part of the short block, what's left for the build on this end right here, we're going to finish cleaning it all up, and then we're going to give it a beautiful coat of paint front and back. And then we have this part right here. This is where the pretty much the oil cooler and all your exhaust gases go through. Your crankcase, this is your crankcase breather. I'm sorry, there you go. And aka also the oil cooler. This is where all that goes. Mounts here, plus your oil cooler here. This hole right here is the crank sensor. This hole and this hole here are for your knock sensors. These two right here. This long part right here is for your accessory bracket. So these two holes, this one, and this one, hold your bracket for your alternator, AC compressor, and power steering pump. Your oil dipstick. This is all on the front of your engine. So when you look at your engine bay, this is the front end. This is all those components. Your thermostat goes in here with your housing. On this side of the engine is your water pump, your crank gear. Yeah, it's sad what the Mark IV community is turning into. It is pretty sad. But that's what I'm here for, man. I'm here to change it. I'm here to help change it with you guys. So, your crank gear, your actual your crank bolt is all here. Front main seal, I guess cover, and then the actual front main seal, all one assembly. And then when we work to the back of the block, the actual back. You have your, this is your coolant return port right here. People actually don't know that. You can block this off if you're going to a strictly oil cooled turbo. All these holes back here are for mounting the the intercooler piping down here. These two ports are for holding the actual bracket to your axle cover. These two ports right here hold the turbo assembly right here. And that's pretty much it for back here and for the front and for this part. The rear is literally just a rear main seal, and that's pretty much it. There's nothing special there. But tonight it was kind of a short night for doing this. Now I'm going to do the head tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to start finishing building the head. So we're going to walk you guys through that entire process. Mark IV community will change drastically in 5 more years. We'll start to week out the cheapos and kind of that can afford them now, and only those of us that are smart enough to own them will continue. Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, I have an MK3 and an LC5 and an Q7. PTL, what are the criteria that we need to meet in order to run oil-cooled turbos? What are the pros and cons? Okay. Let me give you guys a breakdown about oil-cooled myths and truths. Okay, so oil-cooled turbos are kind of one of those things that a lot of people are worried about. Now, if you go to a just strictly oil-cooled turbo, there's 2 things you have to go about it. And since I'm done with the block, I can sit down and talk. Let me get my chair here and there we go. So oil-cooled turbos, they go into a couple scenarios or a couple the 4 holes in the back, yeah, that's exactly right. Those are used for Mark II and Mark III because these are ABA blocks. Or 06A blocks as well is another term for them. These blocks have been used for years. I mean, this exact engine block has been used since the 80s. That's how good this block is. That's insane, just so you guys know that. But back to his question. So, oil-cooled versus oil-water-cooled turbos. Now, generally speaking, okay, this is a general concept or general speaking. Whenever you see a oil-cooled turbo, typically they're journal bearing. They're not ball bearing. But there are some turbos that do come ball bearing that are strictly oil-cooled. Very, very rare. But those turbos are usually massive. If they're ball bearing and they are just strictly oil-cooled, because they don't spin as fast as one of the smaller ball bearing turbos. Now, journal bearing are not as reliable. They don't have a lifespan of a ball bearing turbo. They typically get about anywhere from 50 to 80,000 miles out of them, and then the actual bearings in them just fail. Not the bearings, but the bushings that we require to pretty much hold the journal bearing in place typically fail. But your benefits there. Turbos are a lot more affordable when they're journal bearing. They're typically half the cost of their ball bearing counterparts. Now, ball bearing turbos spool faster, make more power, and are a lot more reliable because, again, they use bearings. They literally float and they spin on bearings. Now, the downside is you have to oil and water cool them because they spin faster. All right, so something that spins at twice the speed of something else is generally going to get hotter, number one, so you're going to need water and oil to cool them. Now, ball bearing turbos are the way to go. Hands down, are the way to go for making a lot of power at much lower RPMs. But if you're worried about your block and you want a better torque curve that's more reasonable, go to a journal bearing. It doesn't mean that you're cheap. It doesn't mean that you're you're cutting corners. It just means you're being smarter with your power going out. If you haven't built your transmission and you're running on a fully stock transmission with no modifications done to it, it's smarter to go to a journal bearing turbo, because again, your torque is a lot more linear and more much slower to build power. Horsepower is a different story, but your torque curve is just much better and more under control. That way you don't destroy transmissions every time you do a crazy pull. So that kind of gives you an idea, Ken, of the difference between oil-cooled and water-cooled. Now, pros and cons, again, oil-cooled, they don't make as much power as quickly, but they're a lot more affordable. So that's kind of the two-way street on that one. Ball bearing, which are oil and water-cooled, make more power, cost more money, so that's kind of a con, but are hotter running, so you do have to invest more on cooling your system. So you definitely want to invest more money on a better radiator, probably upgraded fans, and definitely benefiting on an oil cooler. Oil cooler is definitely recommended for both scenarios on the engine, since now your engine and your turbo is much bigger, you're generating more heat, your oil is going to get hotter. An oil cooler is just overall beneficial. So again, you can look both ways on this scenario. Again, it just always depends on your build that you're going for. Are you going for straightaways, or are you actually going to build a car to have fun as a daily? My car was built for fun daily driving. I wasn't trying to beat everybody and their mama on the freeway. I built it for my purpose, my fun, and it's exactly what I want. So I'm definitely gonna sell my turbo. So if anybody's interested in my big ass SPA turbo, it's gonna be out for sale very soon. I'm actually gonna go into a ball bearing turbo pretty soon. So, but the reason why I'm going for a smaller turbo. I'm not trying to make a ton of power. I'm trying to look more in the range of 300 to 350 horsepower, but a much lower RPM, because I'm actually getting ready to go away from air suspension and going back to an actual track setup on my car. So I'm actually in the market to get rid of my turbo and some other goodies that are on my car, because I'm going to a completely different turbo setup. So if you guys are in the market for maybe a journal bearing turbo with maybe about 30,000 miles on it, a little bit less than that, definitely for sale, guys. So any other questions? Al, what's going on? Shane, what's up? Yes, Luis, definitely. You and Tiny are pretty much the first people to ask for that. Tiny is the first person to want to buy my air ride, hands down. He wants to buy it. However, guys, I'm actually considering doing a contest to give away a suspension for a full Mark IV air suspension. What do I think for the turbo? I'm actually thinking about $300 to $400. Not very much money for my turbo setup, but just for the turbo alone. No oil lines or anything, just the turbo. I haven't decided exactly. It is a custom built SPA turbo. So it doesn't fall on the general pricing of their website. It's a little bit more expensive. I paid about $800 for it. I agree. Yeah, I think I should just sell that to him, and then I can sell you the air suspension, Luis. But I think Tiny will be very sad. Again, I'm definitely considering doing a full Mark IV air suspension to give away as a contest item. I'm also been considering doing a fully built 1.8T long block. So those are items that I put up for ideas for the contest. I haven't confirmed it yet. My wife and I are trying to figure out the finances behind it to see if we can do it. Again, it's an idea. It's not confirmed yet. My Mark IV does not creak or rattle at all besides the front of the car. Since I do have solid motor mounts, the entire car vibrates, but it's only because of the front end. If my car is like going down hills and riding, my car does not creak or rattle. I am very, very how can I say, picky about the way my car sounds when I'm driving. Right now it is noisy because I took a lot of stuff out. I'm getting ready to redo the entire interior because I got to put seats in it again. Kind of sad about that. But we'll see. How do you get rid of rattles? Well, number one, you got to find them. Find out where the rattles are coming from. Find out why the rattles are being created, and then figure out what you need to do to fix it. Most of my rattles are all due to interior components. Since I've taken my interior out and back in, multiple times, a lot of parts don't fit like they used to, so it's noisy because of that. Buying new body grommets, the little grommets that hold like the door panels and like all the body plastic panels back to hold them back and snug, that's what's going to stop all your rattles, honestly. Another thing you can do, why just to change it up? You need to, Al. I need to go a different route with my setup. I want to build power at much lower RPMs, but I don't want to make too much power. I want to stay around the 300, 350 range for autocross and actual track use. So again, a lot of the rattles in my car are due to body panels, the aesthetics, the interior parts. I can stop them by installing Dynamat or by fixing the problem. That's pretty much it. So it's one of those things you're going to have to play around with and find them. Find out what it is. Easy way to do it, if you have a full interior and you have friends inside the car, go in there, have them touch stuff while it's making noises and see what stops it while you're driving. That way they can tell you where the noises are coming from, and then start doing your inspection from there. A lot of times, old Mark IV door panels like to separate. It's super caustic. It's all plastic with like cloth, so the plastic separates and they like to separate, rattle, and touch. That's the that you're going to hear. If a lot of the body panel, the interior panels aren't stuck to the doors really snug, they're gonna rattle. It's normal, especially if you don't have stock stuff in your engine bay. If you put stiffer body panels, stiffer motor mounts, that vibration is not going to be absorbed into just the engine bay. It's going to come out and go for the rest of the car. And again, that's one of those things that you're going to learn very, very quickly when you start going into performance. Do you care for noise or not? Plain and simple. Thanks for answering my question. Gotta be disciplined and actually go to sleep this time. Have a good night, man. Yeah, I definitely would do that. There's a lot of different type of ways to do insulation to drop the amount of noise, but first you have to find the noise. That is the biggest thing you need to realize, is where is the noise coming from. Once you know where the noise is at, then you can go into either Dynamat or just fixing the actual interior body panels. Now, if it's actually like doors or metal rubbing on metal, it's going to be more likely weather strips. Weather strips also do a lot of a body absorption. So if you have really, really old weather strips, if you live on the East Coast, weather stripping rots super quick. Weather stripping does absorb a lot, and when I mean a lot of the body's vibration. Definitely look into that as well, guys, because you have weather stripping obviously for the door seal. There's weather stripping for the above the door seal. You have weather stripping for the trunk. You have it for your hood. All those locations, if the weather stripping starts to rot and just shrink, it's going to cause a vibration. So definitely one of those things you want to invest in. I've been considering actually buying weather stripping from junkyards that are really, really good condition and storing them to sell them, because good weather stripping makes a difference. Makes a lot of difference for rattle. MySpace, you guys. Exactly, Tiny. Felt tape is kind of like it's cloth, so it dampens vibration. That is a smart thing to do. Damn, I miss MySpace, by the way. I actually wish we still had MySpace, because it actually more for everybody. Let's see here. Hola, ¿cómo estás? 47. 12-inch woofers definitely reduce you hearing the rattles. I mean, I have 410s in my GTI, and yeah, I can't hear anything at all. So, yeah, I mean, I'm actually getting ready to pull out my 410s, and I'm going to do either 215s or two Solobarics. I think they're Solobaric 15s as well. I've been considering, or one big Solobaric 15. Yeah. Exactly. You can't hear it if it doesn't exist. Exactly. I agree with you 100% on that. Oh, man. I guess, I mean, there's nothing much I can do tonight to this block, and there's nothing I can really do to the head tonight. I'm waiting for my lapping container to come in here to lap some valves. Oh, nice. Gonna go bandpass. That's super boomy bass. That sucker's gonna be loud. That's gonna be a loud sub. I'm only into sealed boxes. I like ported length or slotted sub boxes. I love also tuned bandpass box. When a bandpass box is tuned correctly, they're phenomenal. You know, it's just different. It's a different type of bass. When people don't understand how the bandpass works, they literally just sound like total garbage. But when a bandpass box, you get an amazing sound. It's pretty nutty. It's a boom, but super tight at the same time. It's super dope. But I am a big fan of sealed and slotted ported that are port tuned. Not just a slot port, but I mean like legitimately port tuned, 15 to 20 inches length for the port. But again, it depends on the type of sub that you're using. Subs are definitely, when people don't understand what tuning means, it's a whole other world. You can make a 12-inch sub sound like $1 million sub if you know how to tune them correctly. It's some cool stuff, but exactly. But again, porting subs and going to like crazy style subs like that, they use up a lot of airspace. So you definitely got to, how can I say, be willing to sacrifice that space. But again, it's maximum efficiency on sound, especially again for a bandpass. For me, the next box I'm building, again, I'm probably going to build out of cedar birch. I'm getting away from MDF. I want to prevent the amount of flex with MDF and go into a cedar birch. It's lighter than MDF, stronger than MDF, and has very, very, very minimal flex, but a ton of resonant. It makes a beautiful, beautiful, deep and bassy noise. I love cedar birch for building boxes. It's very expensive. It's twice the cost to build a box, but your end results is, oh man, they sound phenomenal. Again, I don't know yet what I want to go into, what subs I want to do. Again, the L7 or a CVX. CVX is also one of my favorite subs. Yeah, it's a big box. Yeah, thank you for a great wood. Believe me or not, I actually used to build. I used to be a big car audio guy for long time, back in the day. So I'm a huge audio buff. I'm not an audiophile. I just love loud stereo systems. Once I get this Patreon build done, my next thing is I'm probably want to deck out my car one more time. I want to go pretty nutty. I want to sell most of my stereo system and go some pretty cool old school stuff. But I want to teach everybody how to do it. It's a lot of fun doing car audio systems, especially when you would want to do old school MOSFET, Class A, A/B stuff. I don't want to do Class D, no Class D anything. I don't want digital amplification. Digital amps sound like total garbage. I'm not a fan of them. And what's sad is that people are not understanding that Class D is garbage. It's literal garbage. I don't care how expensive your Class D amp is, it is garbage. Because Class D amps they purposely create noise because it's digital. It's not real analog sound. You're not I don't know what brand Class D amplifiers have less than 1%, not 0.1 or 0.2, but 1% THD. Everything is like 1% THD. So when you turn that volume up, it sounds like dookie. I got a kicker Class D here, and I literally popped it in my wife's car, and I instantly regretted it. Yeah. So Tiny, I want to go air ride, but I hate the look of driving on air. Not THC, THD. Shane, very different from each other. I have this really dope this guy right here. This was installed for legitimately, I think, an hour, and I took it back out. And you can see it still has the factory seal on it. This is an amazing amp. I mean, it's got phenomenal reviews for it. And watch, I'll go back here. There we go. We got, let's see, it can do 50 watts at 4 ohms per channel, 1 ohm stable. Okay, so it's super powerful. But let's go down to, let's see here. They don't even label the THD on this one. Oh, 10% at 1 ohm THD. Okay. Plus, yeah, 1% THD on 4 channel. Yeah, right here. 1% THD on per channel, or 10% if you put it at 1 ohm. That is ridiculous. You have to multiply that, and it sounds like dookie. And you can hear it. Oh my god, it pisses me off. You can hear it. You can hear it. I'm sorry. Yep, static no more. This amp, I'm still gonna. I keep all my stuff. I keep all my audio equipment. I have tons of audio equipment. I don't know if you guys seen these before. I'll show you guys these. These are dope. These are old school, but they're dope subs. Oh my god. This guy is dope. They don't make these anymore. The company went out of business pretty quick. But these are not SPL subs. These are audiophile subs. And that's why they didn't sell really quick. But this is what they call a Funkin' Audio sub. These things hit so clean for very, very little wattage. This sucker's huge. It's got a 60 ounce magnet, okay? 60 ounce. This is a 12. This is a 500 watt sub. And pretty much, no, this is a 600 watt, 300 RMS. This thing hits beautiful. I mean, these guys, I have 4 of these, and I got 4 more of the 10-inch ones, and I love these things. The brand is called Funkin' Audio, right here. These are dope. This is brand new in the box. Again, I bought these years ago, and these things freaking hit. Tiny nose. A lot of people who've ever heard my stereo system, it knocks with 10s. And now I'm going to go to 12s. I still have these. I might use these. I'm not 100% sure yet. But yeah, these things are nuts. These are meant strictly for sealed boxes. You cannot port these. I tried these in a ported box, and they don't sound very good. They're meant to be in sealed boxes. Again, this is more of an audiophile sub. This is for you to listen and hear the bass notes. So these are dope. And then we got this guy over here. This is a shallow mount Kicker Comp RT. Again, brand new in the box. I've had it over a year and a half. Never installed. Never even taken it out of the box. This is designed to be put in very, very, very tiny sub boxes. A dope subwoofer. You'll see very, very tiny basket. This uses a 30-ounce magnet. I believe this is 400 or 500 watts RMS. These things knock for how small they are. These are amazing, amazing subwoofers. I highly recommend these guys if you guys want to save space. This is a dope sub. Again, these thump for such a tiny airspace required for these guys. Again, it's just sitting in my garage. I know I'm going to install them one day. It's just when. I'm definitely going to make a series to building boxes and building stereo systems, because I definitely want to show you guys all the cool stuff with stereos. Nice. So I definitely want to invest time in doing stereo systems on the channel. We've never done full stereo systems on my channel, so I definitely want to get into it and teach you guys all about stereo systems. Don't use capacitors. Capacitors are stupid. Buy a separate battery, honestly. Get what they call a deep cycle stereo battery. They're designed to be 1000 farad capacitor batteries. They're designed to supercharge super quick and hold a longer charge and prevent, number one, your stereo from your lighting from dimming. Number two, they make a constant 14.4 volts going to your stereo, which gives you the maximum wattage out of your amps. Believe it or not, your stereo systems prefer to be at 14 volts versus 12 volts, by the way. Yep. So, just wanted to show you guys that. Do you guys have any questions for tonight? If not, we're going to call it a night, guys. I just got excited for car stereo stuff, so I got all involved. The car stereo is one of my other passions. Let's see here. What are you guys saying? Let's see here. Your helmet? I thought my wife shipped. I'm sorry. I did not. Why is Tiny? Because he's self-appointed himself. So I'm not going to argue Tiny's advice. I officially anointed him the certified specialist on this channel. So yeah, Tiny is he's the official torque specialist on this channel. It's official. Yeah, Gio. I'd love to do that, man. I'd love to do a full stereo for your car. All right. You guys are silly. But yeah, I'm going to call it a night. I just wanted to finish up the bottom end on this car, on this engine. Tomorrow, the top end. And then next week, we're going to do the install. Pretty straightforward. Exactly. He is the dork specialist, but you guys are going to get to see him suffer on Saturday at 1 o'clock. Remember that, guys. This Saturday at 1 p.m., live on Pinche Al's Garage in the front of my driveway, we're going to be waxing Rob, Tiny, and me with my wife, one of my best friend, Brenda, all live on our channel. So definitely stay tuned for that. I will be making a video tomorrow showing you guys, explaining about what's going on Saturday. But please, please, please spread the word. We're going to have it live on Facebook and on YouTube. So get excited for that. And please donate, help the fundraiser. For every $25 we generate, we're going to rip a chunk of skin off of someone live on TV. So, all right. Thanks for tuning in, everybody, on this live episode of Pinche Al's Garage. As always, if you've seen another dubber on the road, give them a thumbs up, give them a deuces, respect one another, please. And as always, here at Pinche Al's Garage, we're going to break, we're going to fix, and we're going to repeat. All right? From my family to yours, much love and peace and happiness. All right? Peace out and have a wonderful night.